Hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here with Shannon. I admire you so much and I had the privilege of working with you for a little bit and I just wanted to have you here because we're talking about change. And I know that, just like the rest of us, there's been a ton of change for you. So, I know I sent you that little sneak peek about the question, but I would just love for you just to take over and tell us, what you'd like to share from your heart. So
Yeah,
welcome, my friend.
thank you. Thank you. It's so good to see you. Yeah, change is hard, especially when we try to control it, right? So I think, your question was good. Like, what was the biggest change in your life? And I think it really was being a new mom, like giving birth to twins. And like, you've known me for years, and I went through 5 years of infertility and pregnancy loss. And I feel like I was the person that wanted a baby more than anyone else in the history of time. And then they were born. I had a C-section. Recovery was tough. They never slept. And it was hard. I didn't love it. I was like, how can this possibly be this hard? No one tells you about the sleep deprivation and how, oh my gosh, it is just a difficult change, right? And even if you want it so badly, it is still the hardest thing in the world.
I know, and I love that you're sharing this because part of me had the I should not be feeling anything but pure bliss
Right?
because I wanted it so badly.
Right.
But there's such an interruption into the organic process for women, and I'm speaking for all women, but you could tell me if this isn't accurate for you, but such an interruption of that organic process of getting pregnant and having that time to like think about future thinking
Right.
that it's almost as if you're still in that speed of it and you're like it's like what happened? Like what just happened to me?
I know you still go into it with all this baggage, right? If you've had
Right.
pregnancy loss or if it's been really hard to get pregnant, like you, I just felt like it should be bliss filled, and it was hard. I had some postpartum. I wasn't sleeping. My babies were little, and there were two of them.
I
So
know you were outmanned.
I was right from the start,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And the monotony of when babies, it's like all you do is nurse, change, figure out food, pack a bag to go someplace, unpack, like you're shifting stuff all the time. And it's so hard. It's really hard. And I think to the point about, like when you've been through years and years and years of fertility drugs too, like you're not starting off in the best place. You're kind of
No.
burned out, worn out, super happy. Like I have to admit, I had a pretty easy pregnancy, which was nice because getting there was not nice. Um, but yeah, that was definitely the biggest change for me. And then like having them grow up and then all the interim years, I enjoyed every single one of them. And now like being an empty nester and trying to figure out how to parent adults and not staying in control, instead kind of letting them figure stuff out for themselves. Like that's another super hard switch. It's so weird. Like you just get used to this motherhood thing. Like you're
Right.
rocking it, like I'm doing
Right.
everything. This is great. I'm doing a really good job. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, what?
What just happened? What just
Yeah.
happened? Then I love that we're talking about this because it's such a change and a shift in your identity,
Yeah.
like who you are and how do you interact with this adult now. Like my children are a little bit ahead of yours and they're adulting.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you figure that out? And how do you stay who you are? And like, it's a lot. It's a big change. And I think society is still, especially where we are right now, but so hard on women.
Yeah, it's true. And I think for most of us, unless you had your kids super young, you're kind of making that shift to empty nesting as a middle-aged person. So that's another whole shift, right? Like your body looks different, you feel different, your energy level is different, and you're looking at, okay, I now don't have decades and decades and decades to live. So what do I want to do with the
I
rest of my life?
I
Like,
love that you're saying that. That's so spot on, honey. Like, it's like, what am I doing now? Who am I?
Right.
What is my big why? What
It's true. And it's hard. And if you're like, I think what the reason I struggled so much with infertility was because I was a doer. I was like, I'm going to roll my sleeves up. I'm going to get this done. And I couldn't make it happen. And the same thing happened to me with empty nesting. I was so sad about them leaving. I was so happy for them, but I was so sad about them leaving. I went in hard. I took voice lessons. I tried out for a musical. I got a part in a musical. But what I realized was it didn't take away the grief. So
I
I was like trying to be busy making stuff happen. And now this year, the second year into this empty nesting phase of my life, I'm doing more of like, how do I want to be? How can I just be in the moment more? What do I want to do? Being a little more gentle and not thinking, I've got to get into incredible shape and I've got to sing every day and I've got to like rocket in my career and I've got to, be in tip-top condition. And now I'm like, maybe I take a dog walk, maybe I take a nap, maybe I, you
I
know,
love that because I keep saying I love that, but it is like there comes a point of a different level of acceptance.
yep.
And it was so funny. I was doing some training and listening about the brain and menopause and perimenopause and how it actually does change your whole
Yeah.
perception
Right.
of, okay, now kind of like I want to say a bad word meter. You're like, no, I'm not tolerating that. I
Yeah.
noticed too, it's the reminding of being kinder to myself.
Hmm.
And it's
Absolutely.
it's tough. It's tough because it's like I know that like I was a size 2 or 4. After
Yeah.
menopause now, like I was just going to write a blog, extra small to extra large. And it's like, how did this happen?
Right.
How did I have breasts now? Like, I think it's karma because I used to say to my mother, those are wasted on the old, and we would laugh. But like, I'm like, good Lord, it's so important, I think, for us to talk about change and the messiness of it in
Yes.
such a loving way.
Yes. I know it's true. It's like, I don't know. I realized myself that I was trying to get back, like go back to when I was in great shape, go back to when I used to sing all the time, go back to hobbies. And then I realized, why do I want to go back?
I
I was
know.
so miserable when I was going through infertility. Yes, I was like you. I was just, I don't know what I was, size 8 probably, but I, I felt terrible. Like I would have given anything to be old and fat and wrinkly with babies.
Right,
So
right.
that feeling of like, let's not go back. Let's go forward and see what that feels like. But when you're in the period of change, like I have to keep reminding myself, just because my boys are in college it wasn't like a instant, okay, now you are an empty nester and you have figured this out. Like you're in the messy middle of the change for a long time.
Right,
And I am not
right.
there yet. I'm still figuring it out.
It's like it's not future change because you're like, oh, I'm in the change happened. No, it's constant change. Like there's
Yeah,
an underline of change, that it's tricky.
it is
It's
tricky.
tricky. And the only way for me is just to come home to my heart, like just to access my heart energy. Because it's so, I echo what you say because I was like, oh, I want to get back to when I was 40 and how I felt like
Yeah,
it good in my body. And I'm like, no, this is a pretty damn good body. Like
right.
I take a moment of the blessing of it because we walked that journey. We required our body to like hyperstimulate and hyperovulate and
Right.
all the things that we were like, come on, body, and not in a gratitude way, more of a how come you're not doing it? I
Yeah.
am way.
Like, why can't you do what
What
everyone else
everybody
seems to
else is
be able to
doing.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I I
Absolutely.
I think it's so important that you're sharing this because the empty nest thing is it's almost like you don't know what that land is like until you get in there.
Right. Even like anticipating it, I was feeling grief over that final year of high school. And then you can't like, you can't store up stuff. Like you can't prepare for something so well that the change isn't hard. The change is still hard, no
Right.
matter what. And I remember that even from the infertility journey, like I remember thinking, we do an IVF cycle And then I would say, oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm just going to think it won't work because then I won't be disappointed.
Right,
Well, when it didn't work, I was still disappointed. And I
right,
decided being hopeful was way better. So
right,
in the same way, it's like you can't anticipate the change. You just got to like swim through it.
right, right. It was self-protection for me too. Like I would be
Yeah.
like, okay, what's our next plan? Because this isn't going to work. But the self-protection is a blocking. And that doesn't work. It's
Yeah.
really like being right where you are right today, right now.
Right.
It's hard.
It is hard.
And I think collectively too, with everything that's changing and the fear cloud,
Mm,
it
right.
still triggers stuff underneath that hasn't been tenderly loved or taken care of.
Yeah. Right.
So what,
And that whole like borrowing trouble. My mother always says that. Like if you're just anticipating all the stuff that could go wrong, most of those things never come to fruition. So you're just borrowing trouble. And I try to remind myself of that all the time when I'm worried about something, whatever it is.
right. I love that borrowing trouble. That's yeah.
It's hard not to, right? You always sort of feel like, well, if I anticipate all the outcomes, then I can control it, but you can't.
No. No. And it's a really different jump. Like we're talking, after going the journey to create the family, now we're letting this kind of go.
Yeah.
And in a way, like you have to remind yourself of the confidence of everything that you did all these years to make them good humans, to make them,
Right.
make right choices. I used to scream at them when they left, like make right choices. But there are those waves,
Yeah.
there's so what would be the hindsight wisdom, that you said so many, which I love, but
I think that like the understanding that you don't have to control everything. You can just be. And I don't mean that we're all fated to have a certain future. I know we have to control a lot of things. We have to make choices like I'm trying to do more exercise right now because I know that would be better for me in my 60s, right? So you make these choices, but you really can't control it. So worrying about stuff to the degree that you feel either anxious or, really depressed or like whatever it is, I like looking for joy in my life is my whole life's mission right now. Whatever it is, whether I'm listening to a book on Audible and it's making me giggle. I don't think as adults we spend very much time thinking about joy. And I wish that I had done more of that. I mean, I really do feel like I enjoyed my boys, but I probably worried about more stuff than I needed to worry about. And just like I'm not great at being in the moment. I'm always, even in a meeting, I'm looking at my phone, I'm trying to figure out stuff and I'm thinking about other stuff and I'm trying to be more like, just be here.
just be here, yeah.
Because this is the moment. This is the thing that you're going to remember 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I think I would give back to myself, worry less, look for more joy, and just like be where you are and be okay with it.
I love all of that. It's such an inward struggle. Like for me, I echo everything that you say,
Mm.
and now I say to myself, are you in fear right now or are you in love? No,
Mm,
where are you? And if you're in love, let's giggle and laugh. But if I'm in fear, like what am I afraid of?
right.
What is the fear?
Yeah.
I think the fact that Grace what has a airplane ride to school was such a surrender
Oh, yeah.
as a
Right.
as a young girl by herself
Right.
traveling. My daughter, like in my head, I'm like, oh my God. And I had to surrender. And my mantra was, she travels door to door with ease and grace and protection.
Yeah.
Because I found myself like in fear. Like, so,
Right.
okay, what do I need to do to keep myself in love? And, how can I talk to myself?
Yep.
And I would text her that you will travel door to door with ease and grace and protection. And she'll say, thanks, Bob. And
I
I think
know.
I think even at my older age, I still struggle with that.
Yeah,
And
it's hard. It's really hard. Although I have to say, you're the voice in my head. I think of that all the time. Travel with ease. I remember that from the tapes that I used to listen to from you. And it's funny that came up. My son Nathan decided, like last year, I guess, last fall, not this past November, the November before, he was going to drive up to Mount Washington, sleep in his car, and then get up at the crack of dawn and hike the mountain with a friend of his, two guys. And I said to my husband, should we say no to this? And my husband said to me, Shannon, you would have done something like that when you were in college, but you wouldn't have told your parents. So he's telling us where he's going. He's got
yes.
a, he's an Eagle Scout. He knows how to do this. He winter camps. Like he's got all the gear. He totally is a planner. He knows what he's doing. But I have to go back to like, yeah, they are their own people now. They have their own internal lives that don't include me. And I have to be okay with that. But it's super hard. You're used to having your 8-year-old where you can say, no, I'm sorry, you can't do that.
No, and I remind them, I was like, my son's in LA, and that could be China because it's so far away. And they'll giggle at me because I'll text them, "Where in the world are my children?" Because sometimes I don't even know where they are. And I'm like, I say, in my mind's eye, you drive a car in a car seat. Like
Yes. Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
of
Yep.
them, they're still like in a car seat, but driving a car. And it must be the mother energy because it's not rational.
Right.
At those moments of, oh my God, I can't control it. They're far away. Like I understand that. Like just you saying those words, he's gonna get in the car, sleep overnight, and hike.
All
Those
right.
so many unknowns, man. That's
I know. Who's like, and especially as a woman, like I would never sleep in my car. You could not pay me enough. But he was going to be with another 20-year-old friend, and they had all the gear with them. They had gallons of water, they had freeze-dried food, they had like everything with them. So I have to not put like my thinking on how he handles things like that because he's way better prepared than I would have been. So yeah, it was a nice reminder from my husband to be like, yeah, you would have just jumped in a car and traveled to LL Bean or gone to see friends in another city and not even told your parents. And I thought, yeah, you're right. And we didn't
yeah,
have cell phones. So if we
right,
broke down, we had to just hope someone pulled over to help us.
right, right. How was that day for you when you knew he was doing that?
Well, we're all connected on our phones by the Find People app, so I could see where he was, and he texted me a whole bunch of pictures from the summit, and then
Yeah.
so it was okay. I think once I got over the initial, am I a bad parent? Should I say no? And then realized I really can't say no because he can do whatever he wants. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
It's kind of finding your place within their relationship because it does shift. Like you'll come to a place of like it's like you're a confidant still, but in a different way.
yeah,
Like it's so funny that you say that because we have our locations on text. And sometimes I don't know where Cole is. And like I'm looking and I'm like, are you okay dead in a parking lot? Because that's what it looks like to your mother. And he'll laugh. No, I'm on set. No, I'm like, you've been in a parking lot now for 2 days. Like, can you just tell me you're alive? And
oh my
he's like, I'm
God.
fine, I'm fine. And they just laugh at me because you know what? This is what my mom used to say. You're the only mother they know.
Yeah, it's true.
They
I
have
love
nothing
that.
to compare it to. And whatever you do, that you're the only one they'll ever know. And I'm like, that's so true, man.
Yeah,
Give myself a little, give yourself some break because we're it, man.
right? I know, right? For better or for worse.
Well, your family's beautiful and you're such a amazing mom and friend and wife and you're just amazing. And I think, we doubt ourselves, but I see you. You're
I
just so,
know, right back at you. I feel the same way. We are our own worst enemy sometimes, that voice in your head. Um, but yeah, like the culmination, I feel like just raising good humans,
that,
raising people who someone will say to you, "Oh, I interacted with your kid somewhere, Shaw's, whatever. He was my cashier, and what a great kid." It's those
yeah.
kinds of things that you think, "Okay, good."
Okay, I'm done. My
Yeah.
job is done here.
Yeah.
Like my job is done. I did it. They're good humans, they're kind-hearted and caring and good people.
Yeah. Yep,
Your boys
absolutely.
are. They're gonna thrive and be amazing like their mom and dad.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They keep you young, don't they? They just kind of inject this energy and life and all the interesting things they're doing that you can't wait to hear about. And yeah.
Well, I love it. Everything to find you, and I want you to give us your elevator speech because you're the social media amazing goddess.
Yeah,
So,
it's so funny. I feel like my work has shifted so much over time, but I think where I've landed and where I love is working with mission-driven organizations, nonprofits, higher ed, people who are doing good in the world and trying to help them navigate marketing, right? Where should I be? I don't believe you have to be everywhere. I feel like social media can get a bad rap, but I do think it can be used for good to build a community, to do things good in the world. And so it's just fun for me to be a partner, a collaborator in that world of helping people figure out from a business perspective, how am I showing up? What am I doing? What's the good that I'm bringing to the world? I think that's the older I get, that's really what I care about. It's like, what are you doing to make some small changes in your little part of the world? And how can we make that visible to people who want to know about you?
well, it's apparent with what you do, though, sweetheart. Like who you are comes in the room before you do.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Kristen. You're so loving.
Oh no, I don't know if my kids would say that. No, just kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, sometimes you got to give the hard truth to the kids,
Yeah.
but
Well, everything will be linked under to find you, and I'm so blessed. Thank you for your time.
you are very welcome. I would talk with you anytime.
Oh, okay. Bye, honey.